Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I just wanted to come on here and quickly discuss the vibe and the energy for the weekend because I was watching a video by Beyond the Veil Astrology earlier today. I like, to just play astrology videos out while I clean my house or something. But she talked about how we have these personal planets, coming into conjunctions with these outer planets. And whenever you have a personal planet in conjunction with an outer planet, that personal planet becomes amplified, I guess, by that outer planet. So you have Mercury being amplified by Pluto, Sun being amplified by Saturn, and Venus being amplified by Neptune. And once she pointed that out, I just could not get the chart out of my head. I have been downloading messages about it all day, so let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about is Mercury conjunct Pluto. And so Mercury is this god of communication. And then we have Pluto, which is our subconscious energy. The Pluto is god of the underworld in Greek mythology. Pluto rules over our transformation, what is going through the biggest transformation, like in transit, for example. So one thing that I'm getting here is like Mercury is kind of meeting up with Pluto and getting information about that. What's going on in our subconscious? What are we unhappy about? What is messy about it? What needs to be transformed about it? What is going on, in the outer world? What are some secrets that have been withheld from you? What is closing out? We have Pluto at the 29 of Capricorn right now, and this is wrapping up a cycle that started back January 2008. January 27, 2008 is when Pluto entered the sign of Capricorn. And so Pluto's been in here for about 15 years. And let me just double check that for you guys real quick. I want to make sure I'm right. I'm pulling this from my memory. When did Pluto enter Capricorn? Yeah, 2008. Yeah. Okay, so it was 2008. So there is some type of deep standing, deep rooted karma here that is coming to an end. It gives me fucking chills. I'm not gonna lie. Could be karmic relationships with people that are coming to an end. This could be like a cycle that you've been repeating. You finally learn the lessons and you can, you don't have to repeat that cycle anymore. This could be an era, a literal storyline in your life coming to an end. This could have been the literal way your subconscious has been functioning for the last 15 years, changing up, leveling up, upgrading itself. Check out where the house, what house Capricorn rules in your chart to find out more about what is wrapping up here. Now, one thing I would say about that energy is I hope that Mercury is receiving like the game plan from Pluto in a way, like what is the wisdom here? What are the lessons learned? But I think what Mercury has to figure out, and it will, especially as it connects with Saturn later on, is what is going to be preserved about the last 15 years. What memories will be preserved? What relationships are going to be preserved? Belief systems, habits, what is going to be preserved about the last 15 years? We, right now, while Pluto is at this 29, the 29 in Vedic astrology, now I'm not a Vedic astrologer, but I do love to listen to some Vedic astrology sometimes. One thing I learned is that the 29, I think it's called the Granada dot or the Granada dot. I might be saying that, the Granada knot. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm really sorry, but if you look that up, what it basically means is that they describe it as the untying of karma. That whatever knot that is untying, and that is what the 29th degree is about. So untying of karma in the house that Capricorn rules. That is interesting. And while we're in this process of untying, this is a very sacred, liminal phase, transitional phase, where we can sort of see the things we did not see about ourselves or about people or about life or whatever, especially with Pluto being the planet at the 29 here, the planet in question. Pluto is all about the truth. Okay. Also, so something about this with Mercury here, Mercury's getting the cold heart truth from Pluto. And that's a message that he's carrying. And this is the last time Mercury and Pluto will meet in this sign for I don't even know how long. Okay. But one thing that I think is also possible here is like, yes, seeing the unseen and forgiving the unforgivable. And let me tell you, I have strong opinions about forgiveness and about the narratives we push about forgiveness and how people, can press that you need to forgive the unforgivable in order to move on. I believe that you don't. I think you can move on just fine. But I've also learned to look at forgiveness from a different perspective as well. So there's multiple types of forgiveness. There's multiple different levels and depths to the word and the action of forgiveness. And I think it's very much dependent on the situation, whether or not it's right to forgive something or someone, I think that's very dependent on the situation. And I think people have the right to choose yes or no, and they can still carry on, I hate that narrative of like, if you don't forgive, like you'll always carry it with you. No, because I think there's other ways to undo the karmic knot. But I think that in this time period that we're in, you can forgive the unforgivable. And that too is a very sacred and powerful thing, to have enough understanding of a situation where you're like, it's fine. It's not that it's fine, but it's just that I forgive you, meaning I'm not going to carry that anymore. That is I think the deepest level of forgiveness that we can achieve. And in this space, it can be possible. And that hits home on a personal level too. I definitely have some situations that I have not forgiven. But I think in this space, I could move towards forgiveness. So that's interesting. Moving on with this energy, I think also Mercury is getting this comprehensive understanding of like, what is the final task? Like, what do we need to do to really wrap things up here to get some closure? What do we need to do to really complete this mission? Also, what is, done? We don't need to worry about that anymore. And what's coming up next too? I think there is this beautiful understanding and comprehensive, fully processing everything from this like accumulative perspective. You're processing things in the beginning. That's going to give you one viewpoint. But then when you process things and everything's all said and done, you have this more cumulative perspective. And that's what Mercury is getting here. And that is where you have the energy of mastery coming in. You really mastered a lesson here. You've mastered a viewpoint here. You've mastered something. So I think that's a plus. That's a plus. One way to look at it. So then the next little conjunction we have is the Sun-Saturn one. Now Sun-Saturn, that one was a hard one. Sun and Saturn don't have like a very comfortable relationship with each other. You can think about it that way. This happens once a year though. Obviously through different signs. It depends what sign Saturn's in. Like next year we'll have a Sun-Saturn conjunction in Pisces, for example. But every year we have this Sun-Saturn conjunction. And I think one thing that this can show us with it being in the sign of Aquarius rules over having this detached understanding of patterns and cycles that happen and how that binds things together. And I think that is why it's a sign that rules over karma, and why it was originally, that's another reason why it could have been traditionally ruled by Saturn, because Saturn is also a planet that rules over karma. So there's just insights, I think, about that coming in. And with that, we can spot any chaos. I think with this energy, we could spot the chaos and kind of like understand what the problem is and pull that problem out and start healing. So that's something I can kind of see here. I can also see insights on how to build towards the future as well. And I think that there's something about this energy really tough. It's really tough. But if there's something that you're like going through that is tough, I think this energy gives you like the universal support to like get through it, or like it gives you the strength to get through it, or the courage to get through it, the discipline to get through it. We could channel this energy of it being really strong in a more way that betters us, in a way that maybe we finally get authority over ourselves where we didn't have authority over ourselves before. And sometimes that's a difficult thing to do, take authority in an area where we didn't have authority before. Sometimes that is because you're like, well, that would require me overthrowing who is in authority. And I wonder if we'll see that, manifest on a greater scale, on a collective scale, authorities being challenged and people wanting to overthrow authority figures as well. The power structure here is looking interesting. There's going to be some truths coming out about that as well. Candace, which is Beyond the Veil Astrology, the astrologer who runs a channel, Beyond the Veil Astrology, she kind of looked at this like there are big meetings going on right now in the world that we don't even know about. And I thought that was so interesting. What are these, big meetings about? So interesting. There could also be a little bit of resistance towards like displays of power. Power plays as well. Resistance there. Very interesting. Okay, I think that's all the messages I've channeled for that one. Also, okay, another thing I got here is something of a higher power or something of higher knowledge, I think, is kind of becoming average information, kind of coming out with the Sun, Saturn, and the Mercury, Pluto here. And Venus conjunct Neptune, because yes, Neptune rules over illusions, but Venus is a very conscious planet. So when it connects with Neptune, it can sometimes make something that was a blind spot conscious. So I wonder what's going on here on a collective level. What kind of blind spots will be made conscious all of a sudden? Okay, let's look at this Venus conjunct Neptune transit here. So you have Venus, the god of love, conjunct with Neptune, the god of illusion, god of the sea in Greek mythology. One thing I could see here is dreaming about your highest good, dreaming about what the future might look like, really powerful manifestation abilities with this chart. Really powerful. One thing I like about the Sun Saturn thing is sometimes you need that little bit of conflict, because it's when you have things that are opposing each other and conflicting with each other and rubbing up against each other, that's when you get the spark, right? So I think that little bit of conflict is not bad. But anyways, Venus Neptune. This could also be like really romanticized energy, blind love energy, illusions. I think this could also be the realization of those illusions, the realization of where we've been romanticizing things, And that could be a tough fucking pill to swallow sometimes, So, I think that is like the hard part about this transit. What are those tough pills to swallow? Because like I said, Venus is a conscious planet. And sometimes when it connects to Neptune says, okay, Venus, this is what you can make conscious to the collective now. So we're getting, I think really some reality checks about downloads here. I think we're getting reality checks about relationships here, because some karmic relationships are donezo, completely donezo with this energy. And then some karmic relationships are ready for full commitment. All right. You need to commit to see it through the end. So if you got new people in your life, you might be at that point with them. Okay. I might have to decide if I'm going to commit to this or not. If you've got existing people in your life that have been around for a while, you're like, okay, will the contract renew, or are you and I done here? And, that's fine. Some relationships, are meant, you write them out till they're done, and you did that. That was commitment. Commitment is seeing it out through it's done. And when it's done, y'all move on. You let go. You don't leave it in bad blood. Hopefully, do your best not to. But yeah, I know it's sad. I know it's hard. But some relationships are forever. Some are not, And that is the truth tea that's coming up. And let the truth tea set you free from those relationships that are done. Because when you hang on to relationships that are done, the universe just makes it harder and harder and harder for you to hang on to them. But I think there is that ability here to dissolve the rose-colored glasses. What are we refusing to see? Let that be something that helps you. I also am thinking with this energy is tricky to describe. And let me tell you why. Because Neptune is a planet that is misunderstood often. And I think it itself, like its energy, is so ethereal that it's hard to describe. And it's hard to put in regular human words. We need like new words sometimes to describe Neptune. So I think that when you're receiving, messages and stuff, really sit with it. Really try to think it through. Try to see it from all sides. We still have that Mars in Gemini, and that is something Mars and Gemini energy can do, is see things from all sides. Same for Pluto and the Mercury conjunct Pluto. It can be really focused on wanting to find all the answers, but it's a planet that likes to test things. It will test things out. So, test out the intuitive downloads you're getting, and stop and sit with it and question it. Question everything and test everything before you fully commit to it. It's kind of my energy. Don't get chaotic with it though, okay? Don't get chaotic with it though. But that's just the download I'm getting. Okay, we're moving on from that one. One thing I can get with is Venus conjunct Neptune energy. It could be very romantic energy as well. I don't know about this Moon Mars energy. That Moon Mars, it could be really fiery, yummy, time in the bedroom, or it could be a fight. We'll see. But one thing's for sure is that if you want to channel romance, you can with this Venus Neptune. I think it'll be fun to channel it through like beauty. I've been loving all of the like romantic looks and outfits on my page, on my For You page. Really fun. That's a cool way to channel it. So maybe taking some time to like, get a little dolled up, be a little bit more romantic, and just see how that changes up the vibe of the day. See how that changes up how people react to you. That might be a fun little experiment. And I think something about this energy too, it can be healing, because the truth can be healing. On a downside, we want to be careful with Super Bowl weekend. Okay, Venus Neptune here can sometimes overdo it. We do have Sun Saturn here, and so Sun Saturn can either come in and like teach you keep the boundaries there if you listen to it, but if you don't and you kind of channel more of the Venus Neptune energy, Sun Saturn, you're gonna feel reprimanded by that. So be careful of overdoing it on the drinking, on anything, on substances, whatever. Know your boundaries, know your limits. And also, this time period can make you extra sensitive, so underdo it. If anything, underdo it. Okay, this time period can make you extra sensitive with all these personal planets being amplified. I'm not even kidding. Avoid it. If anything, avoid it, or go really easy on it. Okay. Anything else that I want to mention? Okay, so we do on a more minor level here. We have Jupiter conjunct Chiron. These planets are very slow moving, but I think this is an acknowledgement and awareness of our wounds. You know, in retrospect to these other 3 conjunctions we just mentioned, what I'm seeing is awareness and acknowledgement of our wounds, and that can bring in heaviness, that can bring in sadness. People around you could be going through things that are heavy and sad. My advice, community, all right? Be there for people. Let people be there for you. Let people help carry this heavy energy with you, because we're all feeling it. We're all feeling it. So if we all share the load, hopefully it lightens it up just a little bit. So community, if you're someone who, more so likes to go off and deal with it on your own, that's fine too. I think this could also, be some really positive time for self-awareness. Okay. Jupiter is kind of like it rules over our streams of consciousness. So we have it in the sign of Aries. So maybe we're getting we're thinking a lot of the self. The stream of consciousness is focused on the self, but then when it connects with Chiron, it's where the self has been wounded. So that is why I say that about that transit. So then another very small one is, and this is an even lesser one because the conjunction is barely it. It's like 9 degrees and continuing to separate, is Uranus in the North Node. So that was an energy that was conjunct, and now it's like separating out. But one thing I'm seeing here is sort of glimpses on how things are going to change. It's not the whole story. It's just little bits and glimpses and insight on the future. So I can't tell you what the whole story is. We don't know that yet. But one thing I will say is, you can reflect on your fears. What are your fears? And how is that paralyzing you? How is that stopping you? I think this is a really cool time for like overcoming fears. And that fear dissolving. I really like that. And no longer holding you back. Yeah, and I feel just overall intuitive messages here. This feels like the grand finale. And this is an energy that's going to ring true for a while. Today is the day we just get that catalyzed. It's like it gets programmed into whatever system out here is really running shit, This is the day it just gets programmed in. It's going to ring true for a little bit. But so whenever you see this is when you're meant to. But one thing I will say is, this feels like the grand finale. We are literally living through an era of changes, an era of really far leaps and jumps. And what's something that's interesting is I've been seeing this conspiracy storyline on my For You page lately of us actually having fallen back in technology. We think, because it was, it happened a long time ago, it's not as advanced. We think we've been advancing this whole time. No, some people would say no. Some people question and challenge that. And I kind of like it because there has just been evidence of us having been connected to some higher metaphysical science. There is a show on Netflix. It's like the ancient something. I'm forgetting it. Oh, let me look it up. It's Graham Hancock show. So look that up. But there he kind of dives into how there was a lost civilization that got wiped out by the flood, and how they may have been far more advanced than us. And maybe since we lost that flood, we've been having to start over. What if we fell back? And we've been trying to catch up this whole time. Oh, very interesting. Just a little thought there. something, let me tell you, babies being born right now, they're going to have some magnified personalities. That is going to be interesting to see, what these people are like 25 years from now. What do they grow up to be? How influential are they? I'm getting the vibe that they will be very influential, very innovative, possibly leaders who are pioneering the future kind of energy. Well, congrats to you if your baby was born today. That's going to be a fun one to raise. Let's see. Also, as one thing with this energy is that there's so much distraction. There's probably a lot going on around, like, for all of us. A lot of us are probably very busy bees right now, but it's weird because when you pause to sit with it, you feel that it's kind of heavy. And I think that's because maybe we need to take a second, like, yes, we're busy bees, but also take a second every day to, like, let go of all the old things, wrapping up, purge it out, detox kind of vibe. Okay. Spiritual detox, mental detox, emotional detox, maybe a healthy, physical, reasonable, practical detox. I would suggest that right now. Yeah. Really focus on what's not coming with you, in this next chapter. I think too that, yes, a lot of things are changing here, but I want you to know that you're worthy of the level up. You're worthy of the new commitments that you want to make. You're worthy of the stability. This is not going to be the same storyline. The transits are not going to be the same as they were the last 15 years, This is a completely different storyline, so don't come into it with those same old fears, those same old beliefs. Try to leave that in the past and know that you are worthy, okay? And just know that you're ready. We're all going through it, even though we don't know what the heck this energy is all leading through. We all feel it, and we're all going through it. And also review the commitments that you're making. Is that really right for you? Is that in your, is that in alignment with your higher self? Is that in alignment with your growth? Will you grow through this commitment, or will you be held back? I think a cool way to honor this energy is through, so like the Venus-Neptune conjunction is very spiritual, very creative, very touching as well, like touching on the heart. The Sun-Saturn conjunction, it's that little bit of friction, but it's going to teach you that discipline. It's going to teach you that hard work. And then you have that Mercury-Pluto. It's very innovative, very intelligent, and cunning. And so honor that energy. You can honor all three. Like, one way would be to have a creative practice or some type of craft or some type of spiritual practice. Make that a lot more disciplined. Make that a lot more intentional. Really let that come from the heart. And I think that could help please a lot of these energies. Think of the kind of things that give us that transcendental feeling without any type of substances or mind-altering experiences. Things like when you are done with a workout and you just sit there and you're freaking sore as fuck, then there's this just transcendental feeling that comes over you. Or like when you are creating something, or when you're listening to music, think of that state. Anything that puts you in that state, or like a craft even, right? Like you're maybe a wood carver, I don't know, some type of craft. If you are someone who has, a skill in that area or whatever, try to make that more disciplined. All right. This is a really good time to do that. This is a really good time to, I think, put out very meaningful work, heart-touching work. And I think, one thing about this energy is, sit with it, but also know that you're not really meant to sit with it for long. Okay. I think it's uncomfortable because you're not meant to sit with it for long. This energy is action oriented. It's telling you to do something about it, not just sit with it and think about it. You need to get up there and do something about it. And another thing I will say too is don't put too, I know I just said that, but also on the flip side, on the sweet side, don't put too much pressure on yourself to be everything all at once. Okay. These magical, monumental moments and changes are not like one thing that happens overnight. It's consistent, small changes, small things every day that really show us like really big changes. Okay, that's something that Gemini Sagittarius axis will teach you, is how the small changes lead to big monumental changes. Same for the Virgo Pisces. That access can teach you that too. So keep that in mind. Don't put pressure on yourself to be everything all at once. Let that journey be, just a commitment to do something small every day and to see it over time, right? Sun Saturn is wanting you to do that anyways. It wants to see it over time. It wants to see commitment every day. Alrighty. So that's all of the messages that I have for this chart. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Sometimes coming on here and just dumping all the downloads that I get, that's been really fun. I've been doing it through just random timeless tarot readings, but now this is a random timeless astrology chart reading. I don't even know what we would call this, because I feel you could watch this whenever, and if it's true, it's true. But just this is the weekend that we're looking at, but this weekend I think it's going to we're gonna hear stories about this for a while, so it's interesting. Divination, astrology, what a wild craft. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I hope you guys enjoy this weekend and stay safe. I hope this message brought you lots of comfort as well. And yeah, have a good one, guys. Bye.